it just turned 7:30, so I'd like to call the meeting for the Board of Adjustments for the Town of Hudson to order. This meeting has been called by Willow River Company. We have in attendance Dan, Eric, and Ron from Willow River. Also, and it is for a variance to the zoning code for the tree farm located at 850 Kelly Road in the town of Hudson, Wisconsin. Today we have the board members. This is a new configured board. My name is Marion Shaw, and I'm the chairman of the Board of Adjustment. And we also have, if I can have a roll call here for Margaret Strelo.
Yes.
Okay. Roger Gerke?
Yes.
Okay. Dan Klassen?
Yes.
And Maggie Hall? Very good. Thank you. There is one item on the agenda. It is the item that I just mentioned was called by Willow River Company. And I'd just like to make a statement if I can. The Hudson Town Board of Adjustment is a quasi-judicial board required by state law in any municipality that has adopted a zoning ordinance. The board does not have the authority to amend or repeal any provision of the town zoning ordinance. Its authority is limited to appeals regarding interpretations of ordinance provisions and considerations of variances. The board functions like a court. Its purpose is to give a full and fair hearing to any person whose property interests are affected by these matters. Its job is to apply the zoning ordinance and appropriate legal standards to the facts of each case. These meetings are public hearings and must be open. All meetings are to be recorded, and we will record these both by Zoom and they'll be also with the appropriate minutes that'll be recorded. When deciding issues concerning variances, the board is required to hear, and the applicant has the burden of proof to show that all three statutory tests are met. One is unnecessary hardship, and that's due to conditions that are unique to the property and that no harm to public interests will be done. Unnecessary hardship for the test for area variances is when a compliance with the ordinance would unreasonably prevent the owner from using a property for a permitted use or be unnecessarily burdensome in fewest ordinance purposes. So with that regard, we'd like to start the hearing by asking one of the three or all three to step up to the podium. And what I'll ask is that you, when you step up, if you have not done so, please sign in. When you sign in, you will be swearing to pledge to tell the truth and provide the facts as real and true. So we would ask whoever would like to present the situation to please take the podium.
Yeah, I can do that. This is Eric. Eric here.
Eric, it's nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. Well, I'm just writing my name and address. You want my company address?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Yeah, so essentially, I mean, I guess I should have brought the thing that I already submitted to you guys. I could read that. It has it all on there. Did everybody read that? Everybody that's here?
We have all received copies, yeah, and have that information there.
Awesome. Yeah, so essentially, I'm our company. We first bought the property in 88, right? 87. Been there ever since. Started as a tree farm landscape company. Still operating as a tree farm landscape company to this day. This all came about because we tried applying for a permit for a new building. It's a fairly large building. I think it's in that packet as well as 60 by 100, I believe, 50 by 100. And so in this process, I guess so you guys can all be aware of what we've gone through so far with your lovely inspector. So initially we submitted an application for the building online through the website, submitted it, I think they want to give you 10 days or something, or they want 10 days or maybe 2 weeks, whatever it is, to process it for your back. So we did that. I would say about 3 weeks at least went by, maybe 4. And finally, I had emailed works office, didn't hear anything back. Oh, that's weird. Gave it a few more days. I called. He wasn't in. Talked to the secretary. I explained to her, I said, hey, just wondering where his application's at. We submitted this a while ago. I don't see it. And then finally, well, she's like, well, let me have Brian call you, or gave me his cell phone. I think I called him. And Brian's like, well, yeah, we got it. And well, in order to do this, you need state approved plans, you need a site plan with drainage, showing drainage and this and that. And they gave me the criteria that we needed to be able to do this. And I said, all right. So we proceeded to do that, spent $12,000 on state approved plans. He said we had to submit these plans, then there will be a what's the meeting, the board meeting, that Clint's on.
Planning Commission?
Planning Commission. They said then you got to bring this to Planning Commission. That's got you approved, bring it to the board, yada, yada, yada. So we jumped through all of his hoops, spent $12,000 on these plans, spent another few $1,000s on the drainage stuff, Med Heave, or ACA. Got everything pulled together that Brian asked for, got to the town board, got to Vicky, and then after a few more weeks of not hearing anything, I'm like, hey, when's the planning commission? When are we on the agenda? And Vicky got back to me and said, we're not on the agenda. This was, I don't even know what month, a while ago. And then she said, well, then something else was going on. And I'm like, well, all right, well, let me know. A few days, weeks later, called back, hey, just wonder where we're at, haven't heard anything. So Tim called me, and Tim informed us that we cannot get this building permit because we can't operate our business anymore because you're not allowed to operate on a town road. And instead, because we're not a landscape, we're not a tree farm anymore, we're a landscape company. I'm not going to go there. Okay, I agree to disagree on that. And I've got the paperwork to prove that we are a tree farm. We do have a tree farm. We are registered as a tree farm. But anyways, I'm like, okay, well, we can cross that bridge if we have to, but Tim advised us to we go through the variance committee, work on getting variance to the whatever thing that states that we can only operate a landscape company on a town road, on a county or state highway, not a town road. So that's a process here. I guess our hardship, obviously, we've been in business for 30 some years, operating literally the exact same way we are today. Yes, we've grown. The company's expanded. Every aspect of the company has expanded. But still operating the same way, same structure, same everything. So that's obviously our hardship. We've got, it's a unique property. We've got 3 total parcels, I think, totaling over 30 acres, and of which is mostly covered in trees. So, I mean, it's not a little, acre or 2 acre, 3 acre lot that we're trying to operate a company out of. We've got a residence on the property. I mean, I checked all the boxes that I'm aware of. I'm kind of surprised Brian's not here because I'm kind of curious what he has to say and why things aren't flowing. But yeah, that's where we're at. So I'm not sure if that covers everything or if you have any other questions.
It's completely up to you, Eric. If there's anything else you want to add, I don't know. And certainly the board will maybe have some additional questions for you as well as we begin talking about it. Is there anybody else that might want to speak in favor of or for this variance to the zoning code? Either Dan or Ron, maybe? Maybe any neighbors?
Yeah, this is Mark LaRue. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mark, how are you?
Good. Hi, thanks for having me.
Mark, can I have your name, please? Can you spell it? Rue?
Mark, M-A-R-K, LaRue, L-A, capital R-U-E,
And your address?
838 Kelly Road.
Very good. Thank you. Go ahead.
When we found out about this meeting, we met with the Shimmons. My wife and I met with them to discuss our concerns and to get what their plans were. And basically, our biggest concern was the traffic on Kelly Road. The fact that they have a lot of equipment that travels the length of Kelly Road, and that was our biggest concern. We talked it over with them. While they don't have an access directly to Highway 12, they do have an access very near Highway 12 at the far north end of Kelly Road, and I believe they own all the property up to that entrance. And what we suggested and talked about was if they could agree to keep their truck traffic at that end of Kelly Road, and instead of traveling the length of Kelly Road and actually Badlands as well, that would really, I know from some of my other neighbors, that would alleviate a lot of concerns. As Eric said, they're a growing company, and they do move a lot of trucks up and down the road, and that's I would think is the biggest concern, and I don't think that would be very difficult to alleviate. So in that case, if that's what they're willing to do, and they indicated they would, then we'd have no objection to the variance at all.
Very good. Anything else you could think of at this time?
Sorry.
Well, real quick, just to Mark's point too, I did want to point out through this process also we did try to gain access to Highway 12 directly off the highway, and in your guys' packet as well.
Yeah, there are notes to that effect, yes.
Yeah, we were denied access to that, so obviously that would alleviate everything, but yeah, we're denied access from the state for that because we have access on the town road already. So.
Yes. So to conclude, other than that, we don't see any. We're the parcel directly to the south of the Shimmons parcel. We share a border, and we've been there as long as they have, and they've been good neighbors. They're honorable people. I think if they had a discussion with their employees about exclusively using that north entrance, then I would have no objection, and I believe that would satisfy a lot of our neighbors as well.
Well, very good. Thank you, Mark, for testifying.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to testify for the variance to the zoning code for Willow River? Anybody else who would like to testify in favor of?
My name's Charlie. I live at 868 Kelly Road.
Charlie, one moment. Can I get your last name, please?
Miller?
Miller?
Yep.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So I've lived there for a short time, not as long as they've been established there, but as much traffic as I share a driveway. My driveway splits off of that north entrance that the previous gentleman was talking about, so I'm extremely close to the property, and I've never had any problems with them. All the employees, when they come through, are very considerate. I have a dog. My neighbor has 4 dogs, and when they're out, everyone watches their speed. Any problems that we have, we voice to the Shimmons, and they're very considerate and willing to work with us with any of the concerns that we have. I don't see any problems with this company operating the way it operates at all. So that's pretty much all I got to say about it.
Very good, Charlie. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Anybody else to testify in favor of Willow River for the variance to the zoning code for the town of Hudson at 850 Kelly Road? Second request, anybody to speak in favor of 850 Kelly Road variance request?
Can I say something real quick? This is Dan Schumann.
Hello, Dan.
Hi.
Go ahead. Make sure you sign, please.
Okay. So we did in fact, after the meeting with LaRue's last week, we had a chance to implement immediately the off limits on Kelly Road with our truck traffic. And I'm not sure if the Whites are on the call right now, but Greg and Sandy White did send us an email. They live on. And I'd like to share that really quick here. I'm just going to pull it up.
Is this a printed copy, or are you reading this, Dan?
So I'm reading it. It was sent to like the upper management, but I can produce the email as well.
If you could, that would be great. Can you tell me the name for the minutes, please?
Yeah. So it's Greg White.
Greg White. Okay, thank you.
And he's
Do you have
at
Greg's address by chance?
Yeah.
Physical address?
831 Kelly Road.
Thank you.
So this was on 5/14, May 14th. And he writes as follows. Wow, what a difference this week with your change in traffic patterns on Kelly Road. You guys are the best. Thank you, Ron, Dan, Jim, Eric, and the entire Willow River Company team. So, as you can see, and that was about a week after we implemented our traffic change. So we do take our neighbors' concerns very seriously, and we want to be good neighbors too. We live here just like everyone else, so we don't want to be inconsiderate and ruffle feathers. So I just wanted to share that as a point that we are doing our best to help alleviate neighbor stress.
For clarification, can I ask one additional question, Dan? And that is, that adjustment to traffic once again is traffic coming north from Badlands up Kelly Road. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So for example, and it's a bit of a tough thing because we do a lot of work off of like Highlander Trail, Prairie Meadow Drive. So these are they're big residential roads for us. So just today, in fact, I routed myself around on Highway 12, I think 3 times instead of going north-south on Kelly Road. So, and I'm happy to do that. I have no problems. It takes an extra couple minutes, but it's worth it to allow for some peace on Kelly Road.
That's actually very minimal compared to what the people in town of St. Joe and Hudson and North Hudson are going to be going through. So,
yeah, no complaints here. No complaints. Highway 12 is just fine.
All right. Thank you very much, Dan.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, Ron Shimon here.
Hello, Ron.
Figured since I'm the one that started this whole thing back in '88, I should just tell you a little bit. First of all, I met with Clint Hetchler. He's our other neighbor who's directly with us. And he was going to come tonight. He just sent me a text. I apologize, I can't make it tonight. Had to run to Mondovi or I wouldn't be there. He was in full support of us. I don't have anything in writing to that effect, but we've known Clint since we moved into that property. and we get along great with him, and it was nice to talk to him just to find out what his thoughts were on everything, and he had no issues with anything at all. As far as the driveway, I just wanted to make it clear that coming from Highway 12 to the south, we own the whole property on the corner there to that driveway. We're the first driveway from Highway 12 going south. So we would affect no other driveways in the area, no other traffic besides going on to Highway 12. So I just wanted to make that clear. That's about it.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Ron.
Yeah.
Okay, one more time. Anybody else in favor to speak for the Willow River Company application for variance to 850 Kelly Road?
Sure. Hi, Sam Herman. I'm actually the neighbor of Charlie Miller. So
That was Herman?
Herman, you are a man. So I've been living on the premises there for 5 years now, and like Charlie had said, they're very good at dealing with us. They slow down. Like you said, I have 4 dogs, and everyone coming in slows down when I have them out. And they're very respectful, and they're very good people. So.
Very good. We appreciate that. Can you give me your address, please?
Yeah, 868 Kelly Road, Unit A.
868? Thank you. Okay, last call for anybody to speak or testify in favor of the Willow River Company variance request to the zoning code for the town of Hudson. Okay, with that being said, first call for anybody who wished to speak against the zoning variance request. Second call for anybody who would like to speak or testify against the application from Willow River for the variance to the zoning code at 850 Kelly Road. Okay, third and last call for anybody wishing to speak against the request for the variance to the zoning code for 850 Kelly Road. Okay, with that said, I'd like to close the testimony part of the meeting and turn it over to the board to discuss and deliberate. Is there anybody that would like to jump in first? Any questions?
I have some questions, Maggie, here. It's my first night on the board, so bear with me if they see me in the future. I've already answered one question. I've driven down Kelly Road multiple times, and a driveway coming off on the curb end. Just, I say I'm not a professional, but is it far enough back from Highway 12 to have a picture? It seemed okay to me, but before you got to permanent, that's a check.
It's a permanent driveway, so it had whatever approval to get established in the first place.
Check. And then I've trolled through there several times with plans, and 3 times when I've been there, guest driveway I would call it, I had traffic back and forth, and like, do you widen that drive? I don't know if that's the thing.
So we had issues with that driveway when they redid Kelly Road first time. They raised the road, which made that our driveway, that was our only driveway at the time, made that driveway terrible because they raised the road quite a bit. Feet? I don't know, that's a lot. And so that made our driveway terrible, and they did nothing for our driveway to make that better. So yeah, if the town or county would like to help with that, that'd be awesome. Absolutely.
And that's probably not related to us, but
Yeah.
What is your percentage of people that come in and shop and buy versus the number of those that you're taking off-site delivering mulch and trees?
I would say it's probably 90% of the traffic is our own. That goes in, now it goes in and out of that park. Maybe even 95.
And is most of your customer traffic business there on the
Yeah. Yeah, spring, yeah.
quite late
And
summer?
Christmas time
Much
is,
tape,
yeah.
automation.
Okay, anybody else from the board?
This is Dan.
Yes, Dan.
I have a question, and I don't know if it's for this committee, and I'm new also. But the landscape tree designation comes, I don't know, if it's under industrial or commercial, or what's it under?
Are you asking the landscape or the tree farm? Right now, they're operating under a special exception on the ag and res part of the zoning ordinance.
That took care of all my questions.
And then another question I have is, so the Farrell's tree nursery set up there, they also front Highway 12, but their access is on Badlands Road, so what's the?
It's a county road.
Yeah, it's the county road is what the differentiating factor is.
That makes sense.
Any other questions or discussion?
That's Margaret. I feel that because the business has been there all these years and are improving their area to the benefit of all, that I see no reason that we should grant their variance. Should.
And you,
I don't think that probably didn't come out right. We should grant them the variance.
you're suggesting that we should grant the variance, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So the other question is, are we discussing where the driveway's gonna be, or are we discussing whether they can put up another tree? You're thinking.
Okay, I think if I understand your question right, your question is, are we discussing the variance to the zoning code, or are we discussing should they be able to put up this building design that we have in our packet? Is that correct?
That's my question.
That is the question?
Correct.
Okay. The answer is they are asking us for a variance to the zoning code to operate there. Once that is decided, if it should go in their favor, then they have their plans and they have everything in place to go ahead and erect that commercial building, which they requested the building permit from Brian Word for, that started all of this to begin with. So that would ride along with, the building would ride along with whatever our decision is tonight. Is that correct, Eric?
Yeah, I don't totally understand how that all works, but that's my understanding.
Is there anybody that understands that differently?
So another question. Sorry. As you've been putting up your other buildings over the years, did Brian ever mention, like, oh, you're getting for
Bingo. No, we literally just got a cold storage permit months before this. No questions asked.
Is
No.
there another?
Yeah.
And he had no
No,
problems
nothing.
with it.
And now all of a sudden, change of heart.
So the other buildings that you have out there, you've got permits?
Everything's going up. Yeah. But now all of a sudden, we needed it.
Right.
I don't know. That's Brian. I don't know what the deal was there, but that's a whole other topic, I suppose.
And the shed that you wanted, building you want to put up is going to store in your side?
Correct.
Because as I'm looking do with all the zoning apparatus, you know, when you're in a commercial zone. That's the big thing they want, is to have your equipment stored inside of it. Right?
Right.
Okay, is any other board discussion or questions?
Oh, I just one thing, sorry. When I first came onto this, I forget who had said it, or somebody in the office, I just forget, but is there another neighbor right across the road for the customer driveway? And which is the us, or did I just that out?
Oh, I see the Bob's here. Well, Bob's our neighbor right across the way, and I mean, we've always helped Bob with things too. It's like,
I didn't know if it was a good concern or bad concern or just a comment, so I just wondered if that was. Are you good with that?
Can I speak to that for a moment, if I may? Out of full disclosure, I did go and visit Willow River Company, and it's been very dry, as you know. And watching the traffic, I happen to operate a business very close to there, and I can see with all those trucks moving in and out, the amount of dust and dirt that seems to be generated with that traffic. And it's nice that it's all confined with the trucks moving in and out of there. What I would like to suggest or see the board suggest as part of this variance to the zoning code is to ask Willow River to do some kind of dust mitigation. And I really think the question of the road came up earlier. I think it would be best if that portion that is used for the truck traffic, that first drive, northernmost of their property on Kelly Road, if that could even be paved in and out of there, you know, across the front of that duplex. That seems to be where all the dust and all the traffic takes place. And there has been some comments made. I can't specify by who, but I think some neighbors with regard to, you know, controlling or mitigating that dust factor. And would you be able to speak to that, Dan, Eric, or Ron? Would you be up for making an adjustment to that, or even blacktopping that?
I mean, there's probably other options. I would think that would be more affordable. Maybe different kinds of rock or chips, or I mean, and I guess ultimately, is that really fair to require also from us from this standpoint?
Well, you're moving onto a town road, and you know you're asking for this variance to the zoning code because you're operating a business that doesn't quite meet the way the code is established right now. No different than would be required from anybody else entering a town road, and there really should be some factor in place to control that.
I guess my thing, so if someone wants, so if a homeowner wants to build a shed, new shed, get a variance to get certain access and whatever else, is he going to be required to pave that driveway to access the town road? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would usually fall under a second driveway request, maybe. But the difference is the traffic, the type of traffic, and the commercial aspect of the traffic. It's quite frequent, and there's. This is a personal opinion that I'm speaking to both you and the board about right now.
How far of a distance are you talking? You said to the duplex there, which would be from the road to where their driveway cuts off. Is that what you're talking about?
I think at minimum, but if you do stand out on 12, with as dry as it's been, you actually do see quite a bit of that. And I can see it from my building as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we get that, but I mean, a farmer plowing his field is really dusty too. you know, or whatever else. And I guess my thing is so if for a new building permit, for example, you're required to trap rock 50 feet in, right, to make sure the dust or the mud is off your tires before you get to the road, protect the road. And I think a requirement of paving, you know, half-mile stretch seems awfully.
And I don't think I would be suggesting a half a mile stretch, because I understand where you're coming from. But, you know, once again, we're trying to fix this dilemma and help you, and I think we can all help each other if we can find a way to mitigate this dust. If you have two alternative methods, if there's something that you could lay on the inland portion of that, that would be fine. That wouldn't be cost prohibitive, but this is once again discussion amongst us, the board, is that, you know, my suggestion, if we were to bring a motion forward to grant this, that we come up with a solution for at least where it meets Kelly Road. And I think that would satisfy any additional questions. I mean, you've done a great job of bringing forward your neighbors, and you spoke to the neighbors, and that's awesome. And so you've taken all the steps, but unfortunately, I would guess that there's one or a couple that aren't fully satisfied, and by moving this to the type of operation that it is with the amount of traffic, you've made every other change. I don't think this would be a big one to get ultimately where you would want to be for the future. If we can.
I'm curious what the board does. Does anybody else feel the same way?
Well, I can understand your point as far as paving goes, but it'd be pretty expensive to do that. Could you have the same results with rock though? I mean, would that cut down the dust?
So we did do, I think as an alternative, Mary, this is Dan talking.
Thank you, Dan.
As an alternative, it was like a blue trap rock. So we do that for clients, as it is for folks that don't want to, you know, drag dirt and dust in their garages type of thing. And we've gone so far that road on stretch on Kelly Road, our main retail entrance, we actually irrigated that once upon a time for that reason as well. So, you know, that could be maybe a combination of those two things. But I understand it. Yes, ultimately, it would be really nice to blacktop that, and we probably will. It'd be nice to not have to do it, I guess, like right now, if you know what I mean. But it's something where, you know, if we're on good faith, where it'll be done in the next year to 2 years. It's something that crossed my mind today as I'm looking, now that we've had rain, the amount of like mud, quote unquote. It's not mud, but just, you know, the limestone that's traveling onto Kelly Road, even with it being wet. You know, that would, if I was a neighbor, that would annoy me, if I'm being honest. And so I understand where you're coming from. I think if we can take it forward from this point and say, okay, this is in the conversation, you know, the next, I mean, believe me, as owners, I would love to blacktop the whole thing, because it's just, the dust is horrendous out there, as you witnessed. But, you know, unfortunately, there's a lot of cost that goes with that. So if it's something we can build into, say, our budget for 2021 fiscal year, you know, then I think we can see some advancements in that.
Right. I certainly, as my opportunity to speak, I don't. Hopefully, you didn't misunderstand me. My suggestion for the board to consider is the portion adjoining the road, and you know what, we can decide on a small portion. I don't think that would be asking too much. I think it would mitigate a lot of problems. It would be nice to see you be able to control more of the dust past that. I don't know, do you know how many feet it is from there to the duplex driveway? Is it more than 150 feet?
I would guess it's probably 75, 80, somewhere in there.
Yes. So-
And it's probably a good 30 feet wide, so it's not a, it's not a residential type of
Right.
entrance.
2 trucks can pass.
2 trucks and pass.
It was made double wide because of the duplex there, so it's a double wide driveway there.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think making them put in a paved, blacktop driveway would be not really in our realm of responsibility, because it's not a here. But I would be suggesting maybe try with chip wood or crack rock, and not the whole way all the way back to 35, but make the flex away. So I think
And we have done, as you can imagine, we've done work for a lot of our neighbors over the years, landscaping or trees or otherwise. And we did in fact do a retaining wall right across the way. I'm trying to think of their name. Oh, it's drawing a blank. And it was brought to our attention at that time. And since, and this was a couple of years ago, and I have seen during these dry seasons, he does get a lot of, I mean, you can see when he mows his lawn that there's a lot of dust. And I know exactly where it's coming from. So it is something that's, that we have pondered and talked over just in-house. So you're not bringing forth new information per se, but it's, I think if we can take the steps to mitigate that, that would be in everyone's best interest. And then with the ultimate goal of yes, doing blacktop on that stretch.
Any other additional conversation, discussion?
so. If we approve this tonight, then they can go ahead and get their building there built. That's standard. And then
If,
also, when you guys approach the state to have a driveway out there, that was a solid day and a half.
Pretty much. kind of knew that was how it would be.
Right?
We kind of figured that would be the case, but we figured we'd ask.
And they didn't have
so,
Again, as an everyday traveler of Highway 12, I'm probably glad that they said no, because the less driveways at 12, this is probably the best. People understand Kelly Road is an intersection, it has been forever, and that's, and in fact, they're putting a turn lane in on Kelly Road, stated. So it's just overall, it's a nice way to
force coming from the west, turning.
yeah, heading eastbound. Yeah. So that makes it all the safer again for everyone involved.
So that tells me the state is okay with you guys out of there.
I think we definitely influenced it. They talked to us. I think the conversation's been going on for a couple of years now. They recently bought that piece of property from us, and I can't remember the exact dimensions, but it's yeah. So the state, when the state has and wants to do that, they will.
well, I would like to close this discussion portion of the board with one comment for everybody to consider that's involved right now, and that is the one burden of proof that really we're just trying to help mitigate, and that is no harm to public interest. If there's, I think where I would go with it is, because this is going to solve a lot of questions long term for everybody involved with the Willow River Company and the current zoning situation, and that is to do what you can if this board would decide to make a motion in that favor of some dust mitigation plan and or including at least something as the connector to Kelly Road to help. And so I'll leave it at that, and that'll be my final statement. So would anybody be interested from the board of bringing forth a motion with regards to approving or denying a variance to the zoning code for Willow River Company at 850 Kelly Road?
I motion that we approve variance from the Willow River.
Okay, that's Roger, correct?
This is Dan.
Oh, Dan, thank you.
I second that, if we need a second.
Okay, and that is that Maggie?
Margaret.
Oh, Margaret, okay. So you second the motion to approve. Is there any other discussion before we vote? We have a first and a second. First by Dan, second by Margaret, to approve.
Just one more question.
Go ahead.
You guys about maxed out on your space there? Or stuff like that?
I think building wise, we'll be pretty stuck for quite some time.
We're overbuilding for both of these ones that we're putting up for our needs, and so we should be fine for, as far as I can tell, in the future.
And we're taking advantage of the economy has grown us to the point that we're at, for lack of a better word, and so we're kind of taking advantage of getting some of this infrastructure stuff in place to where this growth for one, it's really expensive. It makes a lot of gray hairs. It's a hard thing to do. And so from our perspective, you know, if allowed to do this, this is a long range strategy that we're implementing, and I don't foresee any future. We're kind of capping things off. We're going to try to really flatline because it's not sustainable, especially in the grain industry. There's very few companies that are our size because it's just a lot of work. It's a lot to keep it going. It's a lot to stay organized. You know, a lot of guys in the cities that are our size will operate off of a 5-acre parking lot, and that's just what they do. So we're very fortunate to have space to be able to have a little bit of elbow room. But I don't foresee any further building of this magnitude happening.
I'm just thinking this, and then say in 5 years, Ryan goes on.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a valid question. And it's something we have talked about again.
Hopefully 5 years, Dave.
All right, I'm satisfied. I will quit asking questions.
Okay, before we call for the roll call vote on this, I would like to offer an amendment to the motion that Willow River Company submit a dust mitigation plan for that driveway entering Kelly Road if either Dan or Margaret would entertain that addition to the motion.
That's fine.
I agree with that completely. Not being new to the board, I don't know, but that should have been part of my motion that it is a good idea.
Okay, so we'll consider this a friendly addition to your motion to include at least a representative sample of what a dust mitigation plan would be, and submit that to the town on how they would control that on the first driveway as the trucks enter and exit Kelly Road. Margaret, do you accept that amendment?
I do.
Okay, so that's a first and a second on that. So with that being said, we'll have a roll call vote. Margaret, how do you vote?
I'm for it.
So that's an A, okay. Roger, Gerke,
Yes, I'm voting for.
yes? That's
Yes.
an A. Dan?
A.
Maggie? Paul?
Yes.
And my vote will be a as well. So with that being said, you have received your variance to the zoning code for 850 Kelly Road for Willow River Company Farm with the addition of a dust mitigation plan for the entrance off the north entrance nearest Route 12 onto Kelly Road for the commercial truck traffic. And I think we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Hey, wait, who is first?
Margaret.
Margaret, one, okay. Second was? Roger, okay. Very good, thank you. We appreciate everything, and I hope Dan, Eric, Ron, and the neighbors, I hope everybody's satisfied and happy with the results. We thank you for your time, and sorry it took so long.
I'll say driving the roads, local work, I've been out for 50 yards, I need 400 trucks out there.
They're almost.
It's that time of the year.
Yeah, it's busy time.
All right, very good.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Ron.
All right, thank you.
Good night. Where are you at right now? No, he's gone.